Welcome to the Jira Life, the place to find news, events, and interviews with the Atlassian community's movers and shakers. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life chose us. Thank you to Revyz for backing us up and making the Jira Life possible.
Hey there.
Hello.
Hello.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, especially those of you in the peanut gallery, you lovely Jermigos you are.
Leave it to Bob.
Beautiful group of people if we could see them.
Well, and I would also be remiss if I weren't saying hello to our sponsor, Revyz, who backs us up and gives us confidence.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Also another group of beautiful people.
So, guys, it has most definitely been an interesting week.
This is our emergency episode, isn't it?
Basically, yes, we had something else planned entirely, and then after Monday, we're like, we're going to have to make changes, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd say we'd have that constant like breaking news ticker, I think, if we for all the announcements.
Atlassian has been busy. They just bombarded us with announcement after technically not an announcement, but a problem that we might probably want to talk about too.
Problem. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, has anybody been to status.atlassian.com? We'll save it for later. It's not looking very green right now. It's not very green.
I think it's very interesting coming on the heels of what they announced Monday.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. We'll push it to the end, but let's start off with the big one. Let's hit that elephant in the room.
Yeah, Monday, Atlassian announced that they are going to do an end of life to data center. And I'm just going to be a little bit honest here. I was hoping they would not do this. There were plenty of reasons for them to not do this, but I'm not entirely surprised they did this.
Well,
no, we are not.
The infamous Bob statement of everybody's talking about how data center is going to be approaching end of life. Question to Mike. You have your answer, Bob. Right in front of you.
Yeah, I got my answer. And the answer, just like most answers with Atlassian, comes with a whole slew of questions. And I think right now the biggest one in my mind is why now? Why announce now? Other than the fact, other than what happened on Monday, as far as how the announcement came out. Maybe we should talk about that first. How did that announcement come out?
So I don't know why Atlassian even bothers when it comes to end of life announcements, because every time they do, someone leaks it. With the server end of life announcement, what happened was, now former Atlassian, they were very quickly made a former Atlassian, leaked it to the press as soon as the information went out to the partners. Which, that's bad enough. This time, however, I think Sarah is the one who brought my attention to it.
It hit my LinkedIn feed, yeah.
Yeah, it hit her LinkedIn feed. She told us a partner who shall remain nameless at this point in time leaked it because they did not realize it was marked confidential.
Was it marked confidential?
I don't know if it was, actually.
Because I've heard from other partners that they looked and I'm like, I don't see anything marked confidential.
And I don't I sweep a lot of that email so that I don't accidentally miss something and say something. So like the not signing the NDAs, et cetera, sometimes just making sure I'm not aware of those things. So I haven't actually seen an email of the announcement.
I was sent a copy of the email, but I don't have it pulled up at this time.
The only thing my eyes have seen.
So in my work email, full disclosure, I work for a partner. I did get a copy of the announcement, but I received that well after it had been made official and put on Atlassian's blog page.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I've seen is the official letter from Mike on a website, not like an email.
I had someone, anonymous source, send me a copy that they received before the official announcement. And now that I'm looking, it is in fact not marked confidential.
Oops. Perhaps
That's in line with
oops,
what I
who
heard.
knows?
But with this kind of thing, again, I've been at this for a while with the JiraGuy.com and then TJL. So I saw this kind of thing and went, even if it's not marked confidential, Atlassian would want you to wait till they announce something officially before you spoke publicly about it.
If it's in my work email, and even if it isn't saying this is confidential, I'm still treating it as confidential until the announcement comes out. So
Yeah.
But still, the gist of it is starting next year, March 30th, 2026, they're going to end all new license sales to customers. 2 years after that, they're going to end new license sales to existing customers. And then a year after that is when everything just ends. Whatever license you had.
Dun.
Yep. There's one not listed here that is part of it, which is December. I think it's December 30th, 2025, where you'll no longer be able to buy new add-on licenses for your DC instance.
right, and actually there's a different. Oh, wait a minute. There, it's on the second part as far as like in 2026, marketplace apps to data center. Existing marketplace apps are sales of those stop on March 30th, 2026. And then to new customers to 2028, existing you can't get additional marketplace app licenses if you're an existing customer, and then the following year, 2029, is the big cutoff.
But technically, the real cutoff is the 28th line.
Right.
Yeah. And I would like to note that I don't think this is a new plan, because we look back to this past March 15th, 2025, Atlassian announced they are discontinuing the DC licenses. And that lines up a little too cleanly for it to just be sheer coincidence.
Yeah.
That means when we asked Mike, he had this image in his head.
Mike, if you happen to be listening via Spotify, that was Alex who said that. Alex. So
Well,
be sure to give him a dirty look at Team 25 Europe. One thing to also note as we're looking at this slide, when we see the end of life date, it does come with an asterisk. I think it actually needs to have 2 asterisks. The first asterisk, which is shown, it's saying that yes, all DC products are end of life, except Jira Align Data Center and Bitbucket Data Center. So there's a little bit of an extension for those 2 products, and in particular Bitbucket Data Center, because there's a dual licensing option for Bitbucket Data Center and Bitbucket Cloud.
I do find it interesting though they exclude Bitbucket, but not Bamboo.
Well, part of that is there's no direct transition from Bamboo data center proper, unless you convert over your Bamboo pipelines to, I think, Bitbucket pipelines.
That's what you would have to do. And honestly, Bamboo pipelines as they exist, people are begging for them to already to be more like Bitbucket pipelines anyways. So I just find that maybe telling for direction licensing is going to be taking Bitbucket and Bamboo data centers over the next 3.5 years.
So the second asterisk that isn't on this, but that should be mentioned, is there are ways, like there were with the end of life for server, of extending the end of life for data center just for a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 years. And that's if you were a large enough enterprise that had set up, the licensing agreement that way.
But even then, there was a caveat that you had to be in the process of migrating to cloud.
True.
Because that existed. That's how it was for server. I would be very surprised if they didn't bring that caveat back.
How many years did you have from the end of life server announcement till the end of life?
It was a 3 year.
I looked. About 3.5 years. It was announced October 2020. Yeah, it was announced October 2020, and then February 2024 is when they actually did the end of life.
Oh, and it looks like Brian is setting me straight. Pun not intended.
So that you had to have had a contract signed for cloud to get the extension? Okay. And yeah, that's the thing, right? Is how long do you have? And when you consider the state of what migrations looked like in 2020 compared to what migrations look like today for data center, it's come leaps and bounds. So I think you could do it in a more compressed timeline. There's just still the
red flag and the thing at some previous organizations I've been a part of that kept us on data center wasn't the data itself or any of the capabilities of cloud or anything like that. What really tied us down was the existing integrations locally that had to be entirely re-engineered for cloud because they use different APIs, because the database isn't available, for a whole host of reasons. Everything would have to be re-engineered. And when we looked at how many integrations there were and the fact that no one who built these things were even around, so we'd have to rebuild them from scratch, basically, we are looking at probably near $1 million worth of development effort.
Million or billion?
On top, million with an M.
Okay.
And that's on top of the cost of data center and the base migration. And I've heard from multiple companies that are still in that same situation where they are so tied into some of the features in data centers they just can't exist in cloud, that they're either going to lose significant integrations they depend on, or they're going to have to spend significant amount of time and money to rebuild those integrations from scratch.
Should we address some of Brian's comments? Or are we kind of half doing that right now?
Well, and that's what I was, one of the things Brian's saying, right? The difference here, moving to any other product will also have the same cost, right? Because there could have been another or to your statement was moving off entirely. But with that, still that incurrence of costs.
I have two comments on this that we'll come back to.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I've spoken enough. You have a turn. I'll come back to my point later because it's still going to be valid.
Yeah. My first comment on this is that this essentially gives us not only the timeline for data center end of life, but also a loose map of FedRAMP and all the other stuff that Atlassian's doing, right? Because they have to have that by those dates.
That's true. But that actually goes back to my original question of why announce now? Why not announce when they had? Why not announce when they were a little more detailed into FedRAMP High and also something like IL5 for the DoD?
Yeah, but guess what's going to be announced at Team 25 Barcelona now?
I doubt it.
I don't think so. I think it's
a
very public. it's a very public roadmap, and they're still in process on that roadmap.
Yeah, but I think we're at Team 25 Barcelona. We're gonna get an update on where they're at on that development, and I would not be surprised if it aligns closer to this.
I do want to point out something here, and this is an additional point. I have another one later on, but a couple of weeks ago, we noticed some very interesting. We did even an emerging meeting episode about some very interesting moves with Atlassian personnel.
Do you think this has something to do with that?
I would be I don't think we'll ever get firm confirmation that this had anything to do with it, but I would be beyond shocked if this doesn't have something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, there could have been people that were championing for this. I'm gonna stick to my conspiracy that Scott left and to go make an on-premise version of Jira. That's been my statement for over a year, almost 2 years now, and I'm gonna stick with that.
And in that time, Scott has done nothing but work on his VC firm and make money hand over fist. So somehow you're there's no evidence to back up your conspiracy theory.
Is there ever evidence to back up any conspiracy theory? That's why it's a conspiracy
theory.
It's
your wish. I think that's your wish, right? Is that would be something
I
true.
believe the words you're looking for, Sarah, are pipe dream.
That too, yes. By the way, is it a pipe dream? Because it's a dream you have after smoking a pipe. I never actually thought about this for too long.
You never know. California's been the longest with
right?
lax marijuana laws, and
exactly.
who knows what are in the gummies Alex offers at his house. So
dude, I was in Sacramento. I'll have to send you guys a picture, but there's they sell these things that says not pot, but they're called not pot, but they're like gummies. They're special gummies. So I was like, what the heck is that? Anyways, but piggybacking on I want to talk about something Brian mentioned and kind of piggybacking off of Bob's comment here is there are going to be a significant amount of customers that just cannot go to the cloud, period.
Totally agree.
And that's a great segue, because here's the thing. This end of life is very different from the server. With the server, we had perpetual licenses, which means even after the end of life, if you chose to, you could still run Jira. It would be an old version, it'd be an insecure version, but it was still your prerogative. You could still be running Jira server even to this day. With the data center end of life, data center subscriptions are just that, subscriptions. Once your license runs out, you cannot use Jira.
Yeah.
That and actually what they did say was because it's subscription, what happens in data center is that it will become it won't be that you can't access it or it completely shuts down. It'll be that it will turn read only. On March 28th, 2029. If you have a data center instance up with data center licenses, switches to read only.
So you still have access to your data.
You still have access to your data, but you can't really you can't really Jira with it anymore.
What? But is the master plan then that because there's a Forge connector and it's technically read only, Forge can go and read it, but then you're still in the cloud? You never had to migrate anything?
I couldn't speak to that one, obviously.
Another conspiracy.
I can't speak to that, but I don't know. I don't think that will help anybody that has an air-gapped instance of data center.
Yeah, I mean, the air gap is really the biggest problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think, something Brian's missing, as it's still showing. I can't. Brian, if you have a solution for air gap, I'm sure federal governments all around the world will be more than happy to throw lots of money at you.
Very much so. That's been the biggest thing from some of the federal people I've been hearing from is air gap.
Yep.
There's no solution now for that. Other than maybe convincing Atlassian with a really large check.
I know, right? But yeah, the air gap environments are going to be the ones that are probably hit the hardest. Brian's got a thing. Right. I want to see the solution for Brian.
We need to bring Brian on because I think his fingers are probably beginning to hurt.
I think Brian's chomping at the bit.
I am so curious because like every person I'm talking to is the air gap is the biggest problem because that's that makes it a can't, not a won't. Somebody I put a comment on LinkedIn recently. So I got almost 3,000 impressions, and we're talking about is anybody working on an on-premise version of Jira? And somebody's like, well, just have them move to GovCloud and stuff. I'm like, there's like no internet, guys. There's no access to the outside world. It's about what they sell publicly versus what they sell behind closed doors. I don't know that Atlassian would do that.
I don't think Atlassian can do that. They're a publicly traded company. They have to divulge their sales. There's no. I mean, it's not. You can't have two.
We say that, but Raytheon is publicly traded. Boeing is publicly traded. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, all publicly traded companies still very much deal with stuff we may never know about.
But that's talking about their products. Yeah, absolutely. But talking about sales and how that affects stock prices, that's an entirely different set of beans.
All right.
But I guess do they have to share
Brian,
what they're selling?
What's up, Brian?
Yeah, I'm down here at the W Hollywood waiting for my hotel to be ready, or my room to be ready. Just graduating from a networking program this weekend. So
nice. So why is it a can't, or why do you not think that?
I think there's two things. I think one is that, again, I think we have made the point here that, I guess I would say two things. One, Atlassian, if necessary, will do what it needs to do for the customers that it's going to work with behind closed doors. But I think that's always been the case. If Atlassian really needs to make something happen because it's that impactful to their revenue and profits, they will make it happen. They may not make it available to everybody. They may not talk about it publicly, but companies can do what they choose to do. This is about Atlassian's public sales of products. Number two is, who else are they going to go to?
There's nobody. There's nobody else.
That's the point. They don't have anyone else to go to, at least at this point.
And apparently, my conspiracy of stop making an on-prem version of Jira's a pipe dream.
I will say this again, anonymous source. I did get a copy of what they sent to non-classified, publicly available government agencies. Being very clear about that distinction here. No laws were broken here, lawyers. But I did get a copy of that email they sent to government agencies, and they were very, very clear that before end of life, they will be FedRAMP high. I think the other one's called high impact or something like that they will have. I can't say as I'm familiar with it, but so they are making these promises already to government agencies, saying we will be ready by March 28th, 2029, for as much as we can be.
And I think it's important to think about especially at least the U.S. government. I would like folks to understand how different that process likely looks now because of the hatchet that was taken to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want folks to consider that agencies that may have had certain requirements may not have them anymore. I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying that it's been very clear, I think, from the beginning of the Trump administration that modernizing government infrastructure was like a huge thing. And I'm not going and I say modernizing in the way they use it, not in the way that we're actually saying what's the best way to do this. But that may have an impact on some of this.
I don't think so, because that'll be public facing, very similar to your comment about Atlassian doing what they do publicly versus behind closed doors. I agree. The government is modernizing their networks, right? They're on GovCloud and they're doing all that stuff too. But there's something
I'm just saying, look at who the Secretary of Defense is now.
100%, 100%. But there's something I don't want. It's sacrificial and there's a word between sacrament and sacrificial that I'm trying to find. But
sacrilegious.
the concept of a closed area, I don't think will change.
How closed is, I think, the question. Like,
there's no internet. Period.
Well, there is no internet. Yeah, I really do think that the question is how many layers of security can you put in front of it? I don't know. Or sacrosanct, that's a good word. Yeah, I don't know. I get the point that you're making, and you're right that Atlassian doesn't make any points about that here, or hasn't made any points about that. I also don't know if they ever, like, because I think Rodney said, we may never know.
Well, we'll find out in 2029.
Well, we kind of, yeah, we won't really.
We won't, but the close people area will.
Yeah.
We'll hear about it in rumor at best, Alex. We won't know. I mean, even now, I can't even thoroughly confirm 100%. I know they have to exist, but as far as proving that there is an air-gapped Jira instance out there, I can't prove it.
Yeah,
I think right now there is sufficient push as far as the movement of partners is concerned with regard to the federal space that will be fine by the federal government. Certain agencies most agencies will be fine with March 28th, 2029. I can speak that I'm involved in one of those efforts, and that's about as far as I'm gonna say. But me and my employer, we're not the only ones. I mean, think of the real reason why Valiantis bought Contigix, and that became Valiantis Federal, and then other partners have created their own federal offshoots to work with federal customers.
Or why Clovity exists entirely. That's almost all they do in the Atlassian space.
But no, I'm not disagreeing. Like we had Jira DC when I worked for one of the federal government or one of the defense contractors, but they were at the time we were exploring GovCloud very deeply. So I think from you got to separate the public part of the company versus the black part of the program, right? The black programs, because very, very different. A black program is very, 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 very fundamentally different than the enterprise part of the company.
I think the point that we're making is that we won't ever really know about what's going to happen over there.
No, but what we do know is that they depend on tools like Jira that can be put in off.
Do we know that? Do we know?
I mean, I would be surprised if they weren't, but again, as I was saying, what Brian's saying, we will never be able to.
Or we will never be able to confirm or deny that. Exactly. The other thing I think is true is that Atlassian isn't going to sacrifice revenue. Well, no, they won't sacrifice revenue. I think
Atlassian. My call here is Atlassian won't care about that small percentage of black programs that need this.
I agree.
It's so insignificant. So insignificant.
It and it makes me wonder, and I'm gonna steal the tinfoil hat from Alex for a second.
Ooh.
And ask that question: why now? Why make the announcement? Why make the announcement now? And so forth, is that the timing just seems off, right? There's no reason. I mean, unless they, and maybe what it was that they were ready to announce something at Team 25 Europe as far as FedRAMP High or IL5 DoD, and this got leaked out. But
Well, actually, we know that it did.
and
I would suspect that last one.
But normally, but as I adjust my tinfoil hat, or as I adjust Alex's tinfoil hat, it could be that maybe some executive didn't quite see the revenue picture and decided to goose this little action to generate an uptick in the cloud revenues.
Yeah,
What I suspect happened was I think they were doing the exact same. I think they planned to do the exact same thing that they did last year for Team Barcelona, which was about a week before they drop a banger of news so that everybody talks about it now and not flood the Barcelona.
It is really fascinating that they do it at Barcelona
and not the big one,
and not in the US. Yeah.
What was the announcement last year? Something got leaked. I think it was like Forge related or something like that. No, that Forge was coming to an end, or Connect was coming to an end.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And they dropped it like the week before Barcelona, and everybody got it kind of out of their system. And then we went to Barcelona, and then they were right. And so I think they were.
Yeah.
I would suspect that they were planning to do something similar within the next 1 to 2 weeks. They were going to drop this, but because it got leaked, they had to get ahead of it.
Well, and there is something to that, and that there are certain things that you don't announce at quarterly or at release of revenue loss gain announcements, because very intentionally, like you said, you're trying to clear the air of all of that so that you can focus on, and this would be a very Mike move, product and features.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a very product focused CEO.
Who apparently doesn't care about Black
Bill,
program.
we need to Cadwell's comment here. We need to put a very heavy allegedly in here.
Yeah, sure. Allegedly, that's a good point. I mean, I think it's no doubt. I'll just say this: I think nobody doesn't know that Mike really loves the products, and is really involved in how in the work of the product.
Mike is definitely a product guy.
Yeah,
all the way from like he's always been kind of.
He's a great product guy, but he needs some help with the UX team. UX sucks.
It is actually, so just briefly about it is really weird considering like the incredible design team they have. Some things that happen are also like, but I think some of that I just chalked it up to what happens when you get to be a pretty big company, and coordination. The coordination is just hard, like so hard, for every large company. And normally with Atlassian, what I think happens is we see them do things that look like it's 3 different companies doing things at the same time. And then what happens is like over the next year, they figure out how to like harmonize it. But they have been this type of company, and I think this announcement fits into the way that they have often done things. They do things like slightly ahead of when they're fully ready.
Yeah, and then they'll make you wait 11 months.
Yeah, I mean, but it is always been their way to move very quickly.
I'm okay with that, but they gotta do what like most companies do. We'll be available spring 2026. Don't drop us with like, here's Robo, and then nothing works.
To some degree, I think this is what happens. This we are seeing the company trying to figure out how to mature, because they're still acting like they're much smaller in many ways.
That is true.
No other enterprise company dumps this number of features and changes on their customers this fast. Like, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, Brian, while we have you here, and we were talking about this pre-show, considering what was announced this week, this is fairly interesting.
Oh no!
And it's been 24 hours, almost.
This isn't this the way? Isn't this the way that it happens with Atlassian sometimes?
I mean, we only have to look back at Team 22.
But
Yeah.
see, but fundamentally though, this is still a problem. Like when the DC goes down, your internal teams get together to fix it because you're accountable to your own stuff. Atlassian, when you're in the cloud, all you
They
can
have
do
to
is
start.
pray.
Well, yeah, but then they have to start writing you checks.
Assuming you know that you got to go ask for the money.
People are going to start learning.
Folks, if this happens and you're an enterprise customer, go and ask
Not
for
even
your
enterprise, premium. There's SLAs for premium as well.
Once your SLAs get violated, please be calling your Atlassian representative to get you a check and credits.
And honestly, that's like actually a really good point, because companies rely on their customers to keep them focused. There's so many things that you can do, especially when you get to a size of Atlassian, that figuring out which things you should do is about the feedback of your customers.
Yeah, but the problem here, though, is, well, not problem, but the comment that I'll add is, with the data center folks that are left, those people need that reliability greater than, I would argue, any of their current existing cloud customers.
I wonder how many of those data center customers have a consistent reliability. Some of them will, the biggest ones, but listen, I can tell you from having lived inside of a data center organization for a while at Sonos, we had data center and did not have that reliability because we didn't have the staff to take care of.
Your Jira goes down at Sonos, nothing happens. Your Jira goes down at the Pentagon, people die.
Yes, and again, at the Pentagon, you're going to be using government or isolated cloud, which will have a different. Like, that's the other thing we have to
But it's
remember.
not available yet. You're talking about this future state that is still.
Well, yes, but isolated cloud has already been announced. It's going to be available early next year.
Yeah, but so was Rovo, and look at where Rovo's at.
Yeah, it was. It's here.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. So
That's not true.
It's
Rovo works.
No, it
Rovo
doesn't.
works. Alex, when you say it doesn't work, what you mean is it doesn't work as well as you think it should work.
It doesn't work as well as it should for any person that needs to get something value out of Rovo.
There's a lot of people who I think would disagree with you.
I'd like to meet some of them because every comment I've seen is Rovo does not work.
I'm
Alex,
sure we will.
I think that I can think of two events where that's going to happen. The first is going to be Team 25 Europe. The second is going to be the Atlassian Builder Summit, where person upon person is probably going to try to no avail to convince Alex otherwise.
Yeah, I mean,
Brian, you saw it at the summer camp. Atlassian themselves had to submit a bug request to Atlassian because the basic thing is sharing an agent didn't work. When there's a share button,
sharing an agent at a particular time did not work. Yes, nothing works 100% of the time.
No, so again.
I think my point about isolated in government cloud is that AWS GovCloud too. Like, I'm pretty sure that comes with a level of dedicated support. So if something goes down, there are people who will go address it right away.
But it can't go down. That's the problem.
So you're telling me that things never go down for DoD? That's not possible.
I'm saying that the DoD invests a significant amount of money to make sure things don't go down, and when they go down, they have redundant backups to get back up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But it's their stuff, their employees, their skin in the game. Now you're gonna depend on somebody else to go do it for you.
Wait, it's like I'm hearing Alex's voice, but it's what Rodney said like several years ago. This is like uncanny.
I don't even need
like,
to say
holy
anything at this
smokes,
point because Alex saying everything I would say for me.
Oh, this is a really good point that Sarah shared, which is that it could be as simple as living the open company, no bullshit values.
I don't know about that. I'm also scrolling back up because
I'm not so sure about this, especially given how it happened on Monday. It's just like I'm not sure open company, no bullshit was a factor there.
Yeah, I think that value is slowly going to get out of Atlassian's website.
Well, and I think to some degree it has to. I think to some degree you cannot be.
You cannot be the size that Atlassian's becoming and be transparent.
I mean, yeah, and again, the Sonos went through this. One of the experiences that I had while there was how when I first got there, how radically transparent the company was internally, and also while I was there, they got so tired of leaks that they started to change that.
Was it Apple makes you work on a secret program that with like made up names, right? Just to see what gets leaked to the press.
Apple will buy you a gun safe. Actually, you have to have a gun safe to take home pre-release hardware.
Who was it?
Activision Blizzard, for every internal all hands they had, would have your username as a watermark on your Zoom call. So if anything leaked, they could say, "Oh, that's Rodney's watermark. He must have been the one to leak it."
Ooh, I think it was.
Yeah, the thing is with Apple and the gun safes is you can't bring the gun safe with you everywhere. Such is the case as when years ago when an iPod prototype was left at a bar.
The iPhone.
Yeah, actually, it was stolen from the bar by a
he left
Gizmodo
it at
employee.
the bar.
Oh, okay.
That thing was left at the bar.
Okay, y'all. By the way, I gotta run. My hotel is ready, so I'm gonna go get into my room. It's a suite, and it might be a super fancy suite. I don't know yet. I'm gonna find out in a minute.
Put some pictures on LinkedIn.
I will. I think so.
All right.
What happened to Sarah?
Sarah's
there.
around.
Sarah, come back to us.
We'll wait till she's back on camera and then.
So definitely interesting times this week. Sarah, welcome back. The thing I'm still concerned about is for customers and for the partners to a big extent, this so came out of left field.
Yes.
I
mean, I was at the airport when all of this hullabaloo happened, and I was, stuck with Slack on my phone, just trying to digest all of this.
I was trying to confirm it, and I was being very public on some comments about, look, until I confirm this, I don't want to say anything publicly, but, and people are like, but it's real, I'm like, doesn't matter. I have to confirm it, and I have to wait for it to become public.
What is it?
Because I am big enough that Atlassian would come after me.
Was it the morning show on Apple TV Plus? Like the first thing they do when something happens, like they're like, "We need a source. We need a source. We need a source." Somebody's gonna be on record.
I got that drilled into me through the Newsroom, the show on HBO written by Aaron Sorkin. So So yeah, we need a source. We need a source. That's why I'm such a good producer. Or at least I'm living out my Newsroom fantasies.
We just got to put Bob in front of a stage and ask him why America is the greatest country in the world. That's my favorite Newsroom scene. All right, so what else? Ronnie, you have a crap ton of stuff on your screen here.
I do. I
think
I'm going to save the others for I'm going to save the others for towards the end of the show, maybe the last 5 minutes.
Okay, last 5 because we got 15. So what else do we got then? What else do we want to riff on?
So I will make this point, and I made this point in the blog post I did Monday, which was out of band. I normally do them on Wednesdays, but I had to respond quickly. We all did. But let's not kid ourselves. Especially the solution part of the Atlassian partners have been having a rough time here lately. We've been hearing a lot of slow business, a lot of layoffs. We're not going to name names here, but we do know this is a thing, and we have seen people go through this. Even Atlassian has had layoffs here lately. I don't think it happening about 6 months to a year after the server end of life was coincidence. Server end of life generated a lot of extra work for people. There was a lot of migrations, a lot of things to do. Yeah. A lot of things that had to be done, a lot of work for people who could help get those things done.
So this is just Atlassian. No, now the tempo moves to you. But you think
I'm not saying this was the reason why. But I'm more saying this may be an unintended effect that we may see some business pick up, especially as solution partners.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You think it's trying to get the laggards to really just say it's time to let go.
Well, what's that one law, that Parkinson's law or whatever, right? A task will take the allotted time that you give it, right? This is the same thing. Like until you have a deadline, and
I think of like a gas law or something like that. It'll fill up to the size of its container.
Yeah, so this is Atlassian just drawing on. I don't know why Atlassian didn't do this in conjunction with server last year or 2 years ago.
What, server and data center just dying kaput?
Yeah, I would have just killed them both off at the same time. It would have been easier.
Actually,
now they're ripping Band-Aids twice. Now they're pissing everybody off twice.
Actually, I think this is smart.
I know it's smart, but it's dumb.
Well, you're a cloud purist anyway, so who cares what you think about this? But it's like with the end of life of server, you could always dangle data center as an option. All right, you have an air gapped instance. You're not ready to move to cloud. Well, fine. Just take the data center license, apply it to your server instance.
But you still piss people off, and then you gave them a carrot, and now you're bringing the stick again.
Well, one would hope that one would have grown after that experience and thought about moving on. But also, I think from Atlassian's standpoint, they weren't ready either on cloud. They needed to get compliance and governance, and also I think one of the things that we haven't mentioned is there are now 2 cloud platforms that Atlassian has its Atlassian cloud products on.
There is that, but we also need to think back. October 2020, cloud was a very, very different product than what it is today. I went back and checked some of my comments and notes and stuff from the article I wrote back in October 2020. And the general theme is cloud is an immature product. Cloud is not ready for this. Cloud sucks. Cloud will never be ready for this. A lot of these comments that, to Atlassian's credit, Atlassian did a lot of work to change that narrative. If I was to sit down with that same group of people today and say, okay, what do you think about cloud today? I doubt they would be saying the same things because cloud has matured over the past 5 years.
I can tell you from personal experience that I witnessed just within the last 24 hours when I was talking to somebody who is impacted by this, their initial reaction was just one word: no.
And we're going to have those people that will always be no matter what
there's
proposition is.
Yep.
But I think the part that I don't know if Atlassian doesn't realize is, like, Jira is a product for them, but a cost center for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And
we have to justify not only the budget of paying Atlassian's bill, but the budget of paying us as well as Atlassian admins.
But not only that, but now the cost of really migrating.
Mm-hmm. Which is on top of the other 2.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But apparently Atlassian doesn't know that.
But I think they've been trying to kind of make that gap bigger and bigger, where all the investments product-wise for Jira are really in cloud and not data center. as
Customers
Rodney
don't care.
will
just need a task
cry
tracker.
and moan about that for several years now.
But if you just need a simple task
I have.
tracker, then what does it matter?
Well, if you want a simple task tracker, I wouldn't look for it in
There's
Jira.
Trello.
Yeah,
And Trello has an on-prem version.
No, but
And then
you
so
didn't
there's
say
no Trello.
long-term task tracker. You said a
I'm saying the
simple
you said
customers.
task
simple.
tracker.
You didn't specify. You didn't.
No, I'm
you
just
didn't
you're saying no,
iterate
you're saying that
requirements.
Atlassian's investing in the cloud, and I'm like, well, what happens when people just want core Jira?
They can have core Jira in the cloud.
No, they can't.
I mean, to be clear, Jira Core has an existing cloud since work management came out.
But work management's dead. There we go.
It's just Jira.
JCat Caldwell has the right answer. We're just gonna go back to Bugzilla. We're going back to the 90s.
Oh, why do I have a headache now? Just to mention that word.
Bugzilla.
Mm.
I don't know. I think again,
I'm interested to hear what Jake Caldwell has as far as like other there are options. I'm guessing he's thinking about something like linear, some sort of open source, on-prem, bug tracking tool or core or
yeah.
maybe it's even doing project management.
Yeah. I like this comment here from Garden's History, right? Like Atlassian's just gonna like once Atlassian gets you off data center, then it's a full monopoly.
I mean, technically, we're having this problem already because for their particular niche, kind of already is. I mean, for this, what are your serious alternatives to Jira?
You get your records into a platform like Jira, and you want to investigate the level of effort it takes to move off of Jira. What sort of pain are you looking for?
I don't know, but there's a $1 billion market. It's getting things off of Jira easily.
So I think we're definitely going to hear about this from now until Team 25 Europe. But that does bring me to Team 25 Europe.
We're going, some of us.
We are. Me and Alex will be there. We would have brought more, but flights are expensive.
And PTOs are hard to come by.
And PTOs are hard to come by. But we're trying something new this year. If you could find me and Alex somewhere at Team 25 Europe.
Is this picture backwards? Or am I looking at the map wrong?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Isn't the ocean on the east side of Barcelona, not on the west side?
Well, I mean, if you're north looking south.
But which way is the Sagrada Familia thingy?
Rodney, don't fall into his trap. Keep going.
Yeah.
But anyways, Alex's map confusion aside,
I'm still trying to figure out
if you could find us there and you can prove that you are subscribed to YouTube, and we're being very specific about that, subscribe to YouTube, not
well,
to
you should be more
Spotify.
specific. Subscribe to the Jira Life YouTube.
Good point.
There's a lot of YouTube out there.
Well, there's a lot of Jira Lives out there too. So,
Well, there's only one Jira Life.
Jira Life LinkedIn, Jira Life Spotify.
Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah. YouTube's, you know what? Drop a link on what they need to be subscribed to. Makes it easier.
But seriously, if you find us, you'll get a badge ribbon that you put at the bottom of your badge to show everyone that you are an official Jira Amigo. Now, the catch is, me and Alex, we only have 100 of these. So,
all right, your picture's still wrong. If I look at Google Maps, the ocean is directly south of the front face of that right side of your picture.
Alex,
Okay, stay focused, Rodney.
This is Lina's picture, so you get to deal with that after the show. But we only have 100 of these ribbons. We don't know how fast they're going to go. So be sure and find us quickly if you do want one.
And I think you have a mock-up of what this looks like with a badge.
We do. I actually pulled out my Team 24 Europe badge. Rough shape as it is. and just kind of compared what it would look like. I did not sacrifice a ribbon to this. We still have 100, just to be clear. But this is kind of what you would expect, where it will be at the bottom of your badge. And if you happen to have more than one for whatever reason, you could actually chain them underneath that. I know we're talking with a few other of the creators that will be at Team 25 Europe, and at least one is seriously considering also having a badge ribbon. So you can start a nice little collection there.
That was going to be my question, is if other folks had ribbons. So,
well, Rob Heen from Heen.tech is seriously considering it. I haven't seen where he's actually put in the order yet, but he's looking at this as a good possibility. I haven't seen anyone else that interested for this year, and that's only because we are so close to Team 25 Europe.
indeed. These are going to be fun. Now, are you going to convince Larry to go from a pin to a ribbon?
I don't know. Is Larry going?
I don't know. But if you're going to do it again in the spring.
I mean, we've already had requests from people going to the Atlassian Builder Summit if we'll have these there. So we may be looking at continuing these on into the future.
And to clarify,
what they do.
you'd said find me and Alex, but I want to make sure it could be one or the other of you, right? You'll both have a stash. It's not like you got to pin you both in.
That'll be
It's
making
me
more fun.
or Alex.
It should be more fun. We both got to be together. We
Well,
should have more
I
fun.
would say that, Alex, but how much are we going to be together actually?
I would say 80 to 90% of the time, Ronnie.
So not much of a challenge.
Yeah.
Now, Team 26 in Anaheim, we may have you find all the TGL and fill out a bingo card.
Well, we were together at Team 25 80 to 90% of the time.
So I'm gonna throw in some fine print. All right.
Please do.
If Rodney and Alex are interviewing somebody, please don't interrupt them to try and get a ribbon. Wait until the interview's over and then show them that you're a subscriber, or say the tagline.
Fair enough. Alex, what is that tagline?
I don't know. It should be on the back of the ribbon.
Oh, that costs extra, so no.
No. I looked at it.
Next year. We'll put it on the other one. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I don't know. Atlassian usually doesn't do a whole lot of ribbons, but we definitely
I want to change that.
I've been to conferences where ribbons are very popular, so we're going to have ribbons at the summit.
So now I'm thinking, though, right? You get one half. We didn't choose the Jira Life. The other half, the Jira Life chose us, and then you can complete your whole collection.
Oh, I've got plans even more elaborate than that.
Excellent.
Or do we do like a Taylor Swift thingy where she has like every record, you got to piece it all together to make the big picture?
That was one of my thoughts, yes, actually.
Just like one little corner of the ribbon is going to be what you add to the next piece. It's going to be fun. Hopefully we see you all in Barcelona, because I'm this close to telling Ronnie, you're on your own, homie. But of course, just contracts that have been signed.
Two words: non-refundable tickets.
If your downtime is too excessive, Alex, then you're going to owe everybody refunds.
I will tell you all, this is the first and only time you'll see me in Barcelona.
I mean, Alex, I would take you more seriously, but every time you've said this is the last time I'm ever going to do X, you invariably do X again.
I don't do X. What other thing have I done a second time?
Certifications.
Those, because, okay, that was free. And I aced the first two. So I was on a high. But I'm
writing a book, and you say it's writing a book through Packet, but that's not what you said at the time. You said, I will never write a book again.
I'm not writing a book.
I'm sorry. What's the big prize for going to the Atlassian Builder Summit?
The Atlassian Builders Playbook.
The Big Book of Atlassian?
The Big Playbook of Atlassian. We're going to rename it. A guide? You guys are too much. But we didn't announce the best part, Rodney.
Go for it.
We're gonna do a 24-hour live stream in 2029. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.
All pre-recorded live stream of recorded.
No, we will be smarter about how we do it this time, but the gauntlet's already been thrown. Challenge has already been made. We all but have to do a 24-hour live stream for the
thanks to G.
Life.
Yeah. So there will be a 24-hour live stream that we're going to plan out in 2029 for the death of data center.
But Alex, I promise you, we will do it smarter this time.
Yeah, we have more players. I'm not going to sell another house. We have 1,282 days. Liz says she barely saves videos, and she saved the one running through the. I have a passport. It's gonna have one stamp, and that's it.
I don't believe you, Alex.
I believe myself.
You're a brother to me. You know that, but I don't.
I flew to Sacramento. It's a 55-minute flight, and it was like the worst 55 minutes of my life. And so I'm like, just multiply it times 13.
Yet you haven't stopped flying.
Well, because I don't mind the 1 hour.
You'll be just
suck it up for an hour. I can't suck it up times 13.
If I have survived it with everything I deal with health-wise, you will be fine.
I'm not saying I'm going to die on the plane.
This reminds me of like future plans for events going on next year that aren't team. And I believe that you were really chomping at the bit and ready to go on board to head to that destination, which is longer than an hour flight.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick all future travel to within an hour. That'll be our rule. 1 hour flight. That's as far as I'm going to go from now on.
Yeah, like I said, this event that we're talking about is at a location that is not a 1 hour flight away.
Wait, where am I going?
It's about a 4 hour flight.
Where am I going in 4 hours?
Somewhere maybe towards where I live.
Somewhere east.
I don't got anything.
Somewhere where you can get some really good barbecue.
I don't got anything on my docket for flying east.
Something that may involve some high velocity.
Oh, that. Yeah, I don't know that I'm doing those.
Oh, now he changes his tune. You was all gung ho earlier this week.
I'm kind of done with that last one, so we'll see.
I don't know if we should let that be the final words of the episode. So I'm gonna jump in here with some talk of next week's guest. Next week we're gonna be back to having a guest. If you know Ravi Sagar or have his book or set of books, this is one of the old school Jira masters. So
inappropriately, I was just teeing it off for you. Somebody who has given up on Atlassian. It's gonna be a great conversation.
It's gonna be a great conversation. We'll talk about his involvement with Atlassian, from being a book author and consulting to what he's doing right now as part of his company Sparksys. And no, I didn't say Ravi Shankar. I wanted to make sure that I said the right name.
Josh shows up.
No sitar music.
I love how Josh shows up 4 minutes after the Jira Life ends.
Anyways, yep, we're looking forward to next week. Ravi's been one of those people who've been wanting to get on show since pretty much we started. So yeah, it's going to be a good show. But until then, and again, barring anything significant happening within the next week, we'll talk to you then. And as we say, we didn't choose the Jira Life. Jira Life
chose us. Bye,
Thanks
everybody.
For watching.
Thank you for listening to the Jira Life. Our hosts are Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz, Rodney, the Jira guy Nissen, and Sarah, #IBelieveSarah, Wright. Our producers are Robert King Bob Wen and Lina Ortiz. You can catch us as we record this podcast live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube at The Jira Life. Be sure to join us and the other Jiramigos of the Peanut Gallery each week to ask questions, add your comments, and tell us what you're up to. If you can't join us live, you can still catch the replay on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell while you're watching. You can also find us as a podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you think this podcast deserves a rating, it would be much appreciated as it will help others discover the Jira Life. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us. Thank you to Revyz for backing us up and making the Jira Life possible.